Welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Bad Bitches. Brianna.
And Lydia.
Today we are going over Reddit stories, and we have no listener write-ins, so if you'd like to write in your own story, please email us at paranormal, PARANORMAL, write-in, no, BB, bad bitches, write-in, WRITEIN at gmail.com to get your story out there. Now, we are kind of all over the place right now because we have a lot going on at work and going on vacation and other stuff like that. So try to bear with us. We're trying to get everything out on time. I have a feeling one of these times, though, it's not going to be on time. So bear with us, please. All right. So the first story I have today, something my daughter told me that terrifies me. This past year, my family went on a sabbatical in another country. My daughter, 4, talks a lot about returning to her old house, and something that she said recently gave me chills. Daughter, when we go back, can I sleep in mommy's room? Me, no backbone. Yes, sometimes we can have sleepovers, but don't remember, you have a huge bed to sleep in your room. All your toys are there, and your stuffed animals. Daughter, but that guy, remember, I wake up at night because he's there with me. Me, mentally freaking out. What? No, I don't remember. What man? Daughter, he sits in the corner. He's all black. He doesn't talk. He just sits by me. Me, what? What does his face look like? Daughter, he has no eyes, but I think he has a mouth. Me, in shock. Well, you can definitely sleep in my room. What the fuck is that? Also, how is she so nonchalant about something terrifying in her room like this?
God, that's so creepy. See, but that also just, reminds me of, little kids, having imaginary friends. Because I don't know what goes on, but I saw this one video, and the mom was taking a video of a little girl, and she was pointing up to a fan in the bathroom.
I've seen that.
And then it's a hand, obviously I don't think it's real, but it's a hand, and the kid's like, look, it's my friend.
Ew.
That's so creepy. I don't know. I feel like little kids just they know shit that we don't.
You still have to show me that one video.
What video?
With the babies in the grass.
Oh, yeah!
You never showed me that. I don't know. I think kids are easily manipulated, but I also just don't think they quite understand a lot of stuff, which is why they don't go anywhere near it. But I don't want kids, but if I ever had a kid and it's hey mom, look at my friend, and it's up at the ceiling, I'm burning the house down.
I don't know. I feel like little kids mine, they're just so active that especially in the dark, your mind plays tricks on you. But I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think kids have a very active imagination, but some of it's just crazy. Have you ever heard of when kids say oh, I met my sister, and the parents were like, well, hun, you don't have any sisters. She's like, yeah, I do. She died in the womb. She died in your belly.
I've never heard of that.
You've never heard of that?
It's so creepy.
Yeah, that shit is what creeps me out, cuz then the parents are I do and I don't. I think they have abilities that adults don't have since they're so young and adjusting, but I don't think that they're psychic, if you know what I mean. This one, I have a really similar story, and I actually commented my story in the notes, so I'm going to read this one, and then I'm going to also go over mine. Was it a ghost? So I'm house sitting at a really big older house. Yesterday morning, I woke up at 4 a.m. for my workout class prior to work. When I got back at 6 a.m., there was a light on in the hallway that I had no idea how to turn off, nor even turned on in the first place. Okay, so kind of weird, but I brushed it off super easily. I accidentally hit it going upstairs to shower. It's automatic, etc. Fast forward to later in the night, technically still tonight, since it's 3:30 right now. I am going to sleep around 11. I have been sleeping on the couch. They asked me to sleep in the basement, but I'm terrified of spiders and claustrophobic, and I will sleep with the bathroom light on. Since I still couldn't figure out how that other light turned on, I fell asleep with the light on too. Then around 1:30, I wake up in panic, full on freaked out. I can feel my heart racing and this feeling of being watched. I look up and notice nothing and kind of start to calm down. I'm used to having nightmares and night terrors. Then I realize something. All of the lights were on are now off. It was like this sickening, freaked out realization, and I jumped up super quick to turn them all on. I sat there with the lights on for a few minutes, and then I heard creaking from upstairs like someone was trying to walk really slowly and not make any creaking noise. I noped the fuck out of there, and I am now sleeping at home. There wasn't really any point to this other than it was freaking scary. That's funny. Freaking scary. And I don't know what happened to the lights or what was creaking upstairs.
That's really creepy because, like, sometimes, like, I have dreams, like, because I sleep with, like, a little lamp on just because I'm terrified of the dark. And I had this dream one time where, like, the lights were off and, like, I was trying to run to turn the light on, but I couldn't move. So, I don't know. I feel like that is really scary to, like, go to sleep with lights on, wake up to them all off. Like, it get very confused. I don't know. I feel like the little creaking, that could honestly just be the house settling. Because that's always, like, what I make my mind go to. Like, there's a creaking. No, it's just the house settling. Like, there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I do the same thing. I'd, like, go home and sleep. Like, I'm not staying there no more.
I actually had a similar experience to this. So, I'm not going to read what I typed. I'm just going to tell you the story. So, I used to work at the Y. And I used to house sit for my boss, who was relatively wealthy from, like, a standpoint of where I was, 18 at the time, making $13.50 an hour. So she traveled a lot, so I would house sit all the time for them, and I never had any problems at the house until this last time, and I have since never been back to that house. Yeah. That is how scared I was. And I don't know if it was a paranormal per se, but definitely something was fucked up. So they have, like, this big ass bathroom in their master room. So they asked me to sleep in their bed because they wanted to keep their dog's schedule regulated. And I was like, okay, whatever, that's fine. I'd prefer to sleep on the bed than upstairs in, like, one of, like, the smaller beds because it was, like, a king, so I could sprawl. Yeah, and I was like, they had 2 dogs, and they were fucking so cute. I love them. I miss them so much. I want to go over just to say hi to them just because I miss them. If you see this, Jackie, shout out. I miss you guys. But basically what happened was the night before the story I'm about to tell you, the alarm system kept getting alarmed, like, going off. Yeah, and, like, I didn't even think anything about it because I was in that sleep fog. So, like, I would turn it off and go back to bed. Like, I wasn't even processing it. And, like, I was like, whatever, it's probably just windy out. Like, the windows are just shaking. So I ended up actually disarming the alarm because it wouldn't stop going off. I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I go out with Andy. I can't remember what we were doing. Oh, we were throwing axes. We were testing out places to go for employee outings. So me and Andy went and axe throwing downtown. And when I came back home, so backstory to the bathroom. So their master bath is huge. Okay, I've never seen a bigger walk-in closet in my life. Right. And if you walk into the bathroom, like, this separate area, it's, like, closed off by doors, like sliding doors. So I never let the dogs in there, okay? Because I didn't know if they were allowed to go in. And because it's not my house, I didn't want to chance it. So the dogs were never in the bathroom, okay? Now, they have the sinks right here with, like, a big mirror. And then they have 2 extended rooms in the bathroom. If you go to the left side, it's the bathroom and, like, the toilet and the shower and stuff. If you go to the right side, it's, like, a huge walk-in closet. And I never went in there because it's not my house. It made me uncomfortable to go in there because it's not my clothes. I was never in that closet, not once. Okay? Not once. So when I got back, I went, and I was not drinking. Okay? And if I was, it wasn't enough because I drove home. Right. Okay? And I don't drink and drive, you know that. Right. And my tolerance is too low to have more than 1 beer anyways. So I sat down to go pee, and I look across, and if you look right into the closet, there's a shoe shelf. And there's, like, if you look at the ledge, so you know how, like, shoe shelves are, where they have, like, a lift, like a lip, so the shoes don't fall off. It was, like, an inch or 2 high, okay? One of the shoes was on the ground. Now, I have peed there multiple times all week, and that shoe was never on the fucking ground. Right. So then I started thinking, fuck, dude, somebody's in this fucking house. I was like, bro, I have to get the fuck out of here. So I act cool. I act like I didn't see it. I like start slowly grabbing my shit, just been like nonchalantly. I get out to the fucking garage. I haul ass, dude. I call the cops and I'm like, hey, I need you guys to keep an eye on the house because I'm not staying the fuck here tonight, but I need you to make sure nobody broke in. And then I brought my ex at the time. We were still kind of like good friends, but he's like buff as fuck, dude. So I was like, hey, yeah, I was like, I need you, because he worked in where the house was. So I was like, hey, I need you to come with me on your way to work. And he was like, okay, sounds good. And like so much mad respect for him for this, because I was so fucking scared. And like at the time, the dog was a puppy still. So I was like, I feel so bad. But they also had like automatic dog doors. So the dogs could go out anytime they wanted.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so, like, I didn't really have to do anything except just keep the dogs company and watch the house, which I could not do that night. So everything they paid me to do, I didn't do that night. But anyway, so he walked through the entire house and nobody was there. Nothing was missing. Nothing was touched. Nothing was moved. The shoe was still on the floor. And when I called my boss about it, because she was like, I'd rather you be there. And I'm like, I really can't. I'm like, I'm here alone in a house I'm not familiar with, as is, already nervous because of how big this house is, coming from someone who lives in a 1-bedroom fucking apartment to this like 3-story fucking mansion. I'm like, I can't be here alone, Jackie. Like, I can't do it. I'm so scared. And like, I felt so bad because she's such a great person and they paid me really well to go watch their house. I was so scared, dude. I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. I was like, I have to go home. I'm like, I'm so scared right now. But yeah, I haven't been back since.
I'd probably do the same thing. Like, I would, like, if I was here and, like, something moved in your closet, I'd text you and be like, hey, I love you, I love Kip, but I'm sorry, I can't. I'd probably take Kip with me.
I even told her I would take her dogs. I was like, I'll take them to my apartment. Like, they won't sleep alone. They'll be with me and Kip. I promise they'll be fine. But she didn't want me to. She's like, no, I want them to stay home. And I'm like, I can't stay here. I was like, I'm so fucking scared right now. Like, I can't breathe. And, like, I'm trying to do this nonchalantly with packing all my shit up and not, like, shitting my pants. I'm like, I gotta leave. Like, can I bring your dogs? No. Okay, bye. I was like, pieces, dude. No thanks. You can still ask Andy. I called Andy. I was like, hey, this just fucking happened. What do I do? That or my dad. I can't remember. Let's call Andy. Haha, Andy's calling me. Hello?
Alright, I was in the bathroom.
No, you're good. Hey, I have a question.
What's up?
We're on the podcast and we're talking about that really scary experience of when I was house sitting for Jackie. Do you remember that?
Kinda.
Because we went out and I think we were throwing axes and stuff. And then I was like freaked out because the shoe was like on the ground in the closet. And then I went home.
Yeah, I remember that. Wasn't there something up with the thermostat too?
The alarm system.
Or the alarm system.
Yeah, it was like the night before and it was going off like nonstop. And then the shoe was on the ground.
And it was like in the closet or something.
Yeah.
Didn't you mention something about one of the, like there was like a door that was cracked open or something? And it couldn't have been the dogs because the dogs were like in a different area or they were contained in another room.
Yeah, the bedroom door, I think. I didn't remember that part, but yeah. Because they were locked off from the doggy gate that locked them out of the main part of the house.
Yeah, that's how I really remember about it that much, though.
I mean, I do, but it's because I was, like, shitting my pants. Because I remember I called the non-emergency police, and I was like, hey, can you guys just drive past the house a couple times tonight just to make sure it's good? Because I'm not staying here.
Yeah, I remember you, like, texting me about it.
Yeah, I was fucking shitting my pants. I was, like, trying to nonchalantly pack my shit up, too. And I was like, if someone's in the house, I'm just gonna, like, nonchalantly act like I'm leaving again. And then I was, like, got to my car and I fucking zoomed out of there. I was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, you said the alarm kept going off. That's right.
Yeah, because I disarmed it. I was, like, I was... I was so fucking tired I didn't even think about it, so I just, like, turned it off, like, sleep fog mind, and I was like, whatever, I'm just going back to bed. And then, like, I realized it the next morning, and I was like, wait a minute. The alarm was going off.
Yeah, you sent me a picture of it.
I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. They didn't leave the code for it. So I just disarmed it. Thanks for being a part of the podcast. Knocking sounds following my roommate until recently. Can anybody tell me what this means? My roommate moved in with me around August of 2022, and we've known each other since middle school. And she had a lot of experiences with the other side, considering she practices that sort of thing. Now, I'm not fully educated on it, but she also struggles with mild schizophrenia and BPD. but the way it's reoccurring doesn't sit right with me. I know she wouldn't lie about something like that. She's usually really good with disconnecting fantasy from reality, and she moved around a lot before she moved in with me, typically for short intervals with less than appealing partners. Everywhere she's lived, she's heard 3 knocks above her bed before she's gone to sleep until she's moved in with me. She's a genuine person, and I've had my own minor experiences before, so I fully believe her. I'm just wondering if the 3 knocks are significant any other way. She will also hear tapping in intervals of 3, like nails tapping as if waiting. She mentions she also constantly feels like something is watching her, and she said she doesn't know if it's schizo, but she always sees a white smiling face often. And the smell of a rotting body. She's heard the waiting tapping since first grade, and it gets louder if she acknowledges it, and it'll go faster. It only happens in places where things/people are really bad. She still feels watched, but she no longer hears tapping here. Second edit. She has an aunt that passed away when she was in 5th grade. She found the body, hence the dead body smell that she knows about. She was very close with her aunt and has communicated with her a long time ago. She had the feeling of an attachment beforehand, though, but her aunt was very protective of her while she was still around. Typically, if you hear 3 knocks or taps or anything like that, it's to mock the Holy Trinity, like the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. And it usually does not mean something nice. That's for sure. But do you see what I mean? How, like, with her schizophrenia and her BBD, how it could easily be debunked?
Are you good? I don't know, like, just because, like, with people with schizophrenia, like, it's just so hard to, like, tell. But, I don't know, the 3 knocks, that's super weird. But I feel like seeing a white smile, that could be part of the schizophrenia. But, I don't know, the 3 knocks, that's just a little weird. Because, like, did the person writing the story about her roommate say that, like, she heard it, or was it just her?
She said that she's, like, had her own experiences, but the knocking is just her friend. I don't know. She also said that she's felt like she's been watched, like, her entire life, and, like, she's felt an attachment before, so they think that she's, like, got an attachment, but I feel like that's really hard to differentiate between an attachment and schizophrenia.
I don't know. I feel like it's also hard because, like, there's so many, like, different levels of schizophrenia, so, like, I feel like it depends on, like, where she's at with it. I don't know. That's hard. That's a hard one. Like, I can't even put, like, my mind to think about that. Like, confuses me.
I personally feel like if that was, like, happening to me, like, I would go to the doctor to try to debunk it. And if I couldn't, that or I'd set, like, a camera up to see if the camera picked it up. Like, I try to catch evidence of it actually happening, not just in my head. But the fact it's, like, 3 knocks, that's the part that gets me. But she studies it, so she knows what 3 knocks means. Maybe not the friend that wrote the story, but the girl that hears it.
So, like, if the person who's writing the story can't hear it, I don't think the camera, or, like, you could catch it on a camera or something. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think it's that she can't hear it. I don't think she's tried to.
Yeah, open your mind up.
Well, not even just that, but I don't think that they've, like, set anything up to catch, like, evidence of it happening.
I feel like you'll be able to, like, debunk, like, some things, but, like, the other ones are just, like, scratch your head moment.
Yeah, I don't know. It really depends on, like, her level of, like, schizophrenia and if they can actually hear it happening and it's not just her. Quick interruption. If you guys like the video, please let us know by liking it. If you guys don't like the video, comment down below and tell us why, or if your favorite part. And if you guys like the channel, please feel free to subscribe. And we're really excited to see where this goes. And we're excited to have you guys here with us on this journey. And yeah, back to the show. This one is called My Life Is Gone. I personally don't think this happened. But it's also kind of cool to think about. And it almost actually doesn't even seem real, to be honest with you. But we'll see. It was pretty interesting to read, so. I'm going to start by saying I'm only 16, I'm not crazy, and I've never been diagnosed with or shown any signs of any mental illnesses. I was 100% sober and awake when this story took place. Quick backstory, I've lived in New Mexico my entire life, and I have never left. I lived with my mom, 2 younger brothers, and an infant sister. My dad passed away due to cancer of the heart when I was very, very young. My house is severely old, 2-bedroom, and my house has always been very decrepit and broken up. Keep all that in mind as you read. The night before my 16th birthday, 2022, my mom had given me $200 and the house to myself and my younger brothers to do a little something with me and my friends. She very aggressively told me no drugs or alcohol were allowed whatsoever, and she mentioned she would be home exactly at 12 a.m. with my little sister, no later. Now, I wasn't a very popular kid, so I just invited my best friend. We ordered some food and watched some delinquent shit that I cannot remember right now. We decided just to fall asleep during whatever we were watching around 11 p.m. due to the fact we had school in the morning. I had set my alarm to wake up very early so I could hang out with my, at the time, girlfriend, Kayla. We had planned to just walk around town and check out stores around my neighborhood, so immediately after getting up, I knew something was very, very wrong. I woke up and my mother wasn't home. That may not seem very crazy for most people, but my mom never leaves the house without telling me, ever. That's simply how it's been since my father died. We made every choice together, and she has never changed that. After realizing my mom was nowhere in the house, I realized I wasn't even in my house. I was in an upper-class white person house, to put it nicely. I was freaking the fuck out. My friend was still laying on the couch, and I woke him up. The second it set in that we were not in my house, I screamed at him asking where the fuck we were and where my siblings and mother were. He looked at me like I was completely insane. He asked me what I meant, telling me this is my house. I didn't have any siblings. My mom was probably out partying or something. I lost my fucking shit. I started hyperventilating, throwing the house upside down. The baby stuff was gone. My brother's toys gone. Their beds gone. My mom's room trashed with beer cans and overwhelming smell of cigarettes was hanging in the air. My mom would never drink or smoke. She loved her kids too much to ever let us see her like that. I spent the next 7 to 8 hours going absolutely mental, trashing the house, running around the neighborhood, practically ripping out my own hair looking for my family. My best friend was terrified. I think he thought I was insane. He walked out of that house that day, and he's barely talked to me since. My mom came home last night. She was drunk, and she laughed at my panic, asking myself if I was high. I tried counseling. I've tried meds, but no matter what I do, I can never remember a life that isn't the one I had before. I was brought to this fake world. I know this is fake. Everything is so wrong. Please help me. I think that he is undiagnosed for whatever mental disability it is, but I really think that he's going through a mental break. I think the death of his father is finally hitting him, and he's not okay.
That was such a weird story. Like, that's like the definition of a mental breakdown. Because, like, I don't know if it's like everyone, but like everyone copes different, especially like with the death of his father. I feel like he was just putting his mind in this fantasy world. And then one day he woke up to what reality was like or something. I don't know. That's so weird.
Yeah, so here are some of the comments about it. I personally think he's just really ill. Now, the first comment is, maybe you should see a doctor. I mean this in the kindest way possible, but you may have a brain issue.
That's the nicest way possible.
I mean, how else are you going to tell someone that you're clearly fucking deranged right now? If this is real, it sounds like you woke up in an alternate timeline, or your physical body woke up normally, but your memories were crossed and replaced with one of your many alternate selves.
That's a good one.
Then there's this one. Did you just shift into an alternate reality? I try hypnosis because it sounds like something happened to make you switch from one reality to another. Maybe hypnosis can give you the metaphoric key back. And if you go back to your own reality, I'm just thinking about alien abductees who don't remember shit and seek hypnosis to unlock the truth as to what happened to them. Maybe the same can be done for you. God bless you. I don't know. I personally think that, well, okay, so they've like straight up like said they found like a different dimension portal down in what is it, Antarctica? Like they said they found a portal or like a different dimension down there. So like, it's really not that far-fetched that he might have just swapped. And he sounds really scared. Like it really sounds like he believes he went through what he did.
Yeah, I'm sure he's scared. I mean, I would be very scared too. Like tearing the house upside down for 7 to 8 hours straight, that's just insane. God, there's like so many things like that's like hard to believe that can be true. And then things that like are like, can this be true? Can this not? I don't know. Like, that blows my mind though.
It's kind of like one of those things that you have to experience yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's not something that you're just gonna like hear and believe. Like it's something that you're gonna have to go through yourself to understand like the reality of it. But like the way his friend hasn't talked to him since, like it really makes me think that if it is true, he was switched with another one of himself. But it also makes me think that this kid needs to go to the fucking hospital. Like there's a lot of people that like they don't get affected by grief until much later. And he said he was, 16?
Yeah.
That's when a lot of, like, mental illnesses start to kick in, between 16 and 25. Because my depression didn't hit me until I was 15. I was fine until one day I woke up and I just wasn't.
It just blows my mind, like, just waking up and, like, being a completely different person, or, like, seeing your life completely different. That's definitely something that you will have to experience for yourself to actually, like, believe that it's going to happen. I don't know. But very side note, this just reminded me of, I think it's a movie called 17 Again. Like, randomly he just wakes up and he's 17 again. That's what it just reminded me of.
Now we're going to talk about the clown. You ready? There's 2 parts to this.
Of course there is.
For anyone who doesn't know, Lydia does not like clowns.
We don't gotta tell the whole world.
I mean, I feel like we should.
No, because people, like, know what you're afraid of, and then they try to scare you with
Lydia's scared of clowns.
it. Okay, fuck you. I see how it is.
I'm scared of being in the dark alone. If I have someone with me, I'm usually pretty good. Circus Part 1.
Of course, the fucking circus, too.
My ex-girlfriend and I decided to go to my hometown of Reno, Nevada for our vacation. Let's call her Carolina for privacy purposes. Carolina had never really seen the snow, as she was born and raised in LA. Lucky. I haven't seen my family since I moved to LA 5 years prior, so it seemed like the first thing to do. When my band used to tour, I used an app a lot called Hotel Tonight. Basically, swoop up a room for half off, give or take. I think it had to do with the last-minute cancellations or whatever. We need to look into that. I never had an issue with the app, and I raved about it to my musician friends. That was the last time I would ever use this app, and now I gladly pay full price for rooms when I need them. Oh, never mind. Okay. Here's why. The app located a room at a Circus casino downtown. The casino always creeped me out because it was the realm of the liminal spaces. The midway was always empty. Perpetually, there were scattered arcades with machines flashing and making noises, but no children anywhere to be found. The concierge informed us that we would be in room 316 on the 16th floor. Upon arriving at our room, we both immediately noticed the macabre and downright satanic paintings that adorned every wall. There were a lot of headless clowns and ball-shaped entities stuck behind cages, juggling that kind of looked like Tweedledee and Tweedledum from Alice in Wonderland. There were even Baphomet-looking goatmen, entities depicted in several of the paintings. The creatures in the paintings were all seemingly in various states of bondage. Nope, Carolina said. She tried to remove a painting but found it was tightly attached to the wall with nails or super glue. I tried to do the same thing and found that the paintings were not going anywhere.
I'd just get out of the hotel at that point. I'm not staying in any room that looks like that.
That's just part 1.
Like, okay, I can maybe think of, like, how the paintings are stuck there because, like, people, like, may steal them. But, like, not super glued or nailed down. Creepy looking like that.
Do you know what it reminds me of? The painting in Jim and Pam's house when Jim bought Pam a house on The Office. How they can't get the picture off the wall. Wasn't that a clown too?
Yeah.
That's awesome. We took all of the clean towels and covered the macabre paintings and collapsed into bed. That night, I had the worst sleep paralysis episode I have ever had. Just remember that I was sitting up in bed, looking at the door to our room because something was behind the door that made me bolt up and start sweating, despite the brumal chill that came over the entire room. It sounded like a cat scratching to be let inside. Suddenly, door burst open violently, and there was an apparition of an elderly woman in a pure white evening gown. Every story has a woman in white. I swear to fucking God.
Maybe it just makes them look, like, more elegant. Instead of, like, maybe, like, the clothes that they were wearing when, like, they died or something.
I was actually bitching about it to Maddie, and Maddie said, well, that's what they used to wear to bed.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Yeah. She was levitating about a couple feet off the ground, and her eyes were white like a severely blind old dog. Below, there were snake-like lizards that made Ew. Below her, there were... Ew. I can't. Below her, there were snake-like figured lizards that were making figure eights, chasing each other's tails in some ritualistic, undulating circle. The apparition floated to the foot of my bed, Her arms were outstretched in front of her, shoulders weight like Frankenstein, and the lizards followed her wherever she went. The old woman began shrieking like a banshee, and the room filled with the blinding white light. Next, I'm laying in the bed screaming, and Carolina is shaking me out of the vivid and lucid sleep paralysis. She was terrified. I sprung out of the bed and ran to the door to see if it was still locked. We tried to shrug it off and return to bed, but the room was so cold I could see my own breath. Carolina pointed out that something sounded like it was scratching at the window lightly, and distended humanoid shadow was cast across the wall. I opened the curtains to see if it may be hail making the noise, as we were way too high up for it to be anything else, because remember, they're on the 16th floor. The shadow figure would vanish each time, and I yanked the blinds open, but the scratching would manifest again, and a few minutes later each time. The thermostat said the room was 80 degrees. We had it cranked to no avail. It would get progressively colder and colder each night until exactly sunrise, and then it seemed the heater would finally function properly. So I gave up on sleeping, but my girlfriend slept well into the afternoon. I called down for more towels, but nobody came after an hour, so I took one down that we had hung over easily the most unnerving painting in the whole room. Just above the toilet was the saddest sack of shit wino clown that appeared to have the that changed so fast. Just above the toilet was the saddest sack of shit wino clown that appeared to have wounds of Christ on the wrist, and of course just behind the clown was a Wendigo or skinwalker entity that hadn't noticed initially. Bro, I want to go fucking see this room. Regarding this painting, my girlfriend took pictures of all of them because she knew that no one back home would believe that they were real. Also, they were so complicated, it was truly hard to describe exactly what was going on in each one. The best comparison I could make of Hieronymus Bosch used oil paints and charcoal on an average size canvas and had a hard on for clowns. After a year or so, she and I both felt the photos and the paintings should be deleted, as we both experienced frequent sleep paralysis the following year or so. Part of me regrets that decision. Oh well. It was 2016, so it didn't help that it was the year where disturbing clowns were popping up all over, to the point where McDonald's nixed Ronald McDonald for good. I forgot about that. So there I am in the shower with my back to the clown McAntichrist. And I'm feeling distinctively like I'm being watched. I allow myself to revisit my nightmare from the night before, and suddenly there were only one thing I could think about. The disembodied, Krusty the Clown, cartoonish laughter that suddenly manifested near my right ear. I yanked the shower in the direction I thought I was off, and I ended up scalding my neck and my butt and almost completely ate it. I pulled the shower curtain open from the other side and searched the entire room for whatever made the noise. At that point, I was convinced that it was my turn to go crazy, seeing as my older brother lost his mind around the same age. That's another story, but he is a homeless schizophrenic meth who talks to himself and went full-on Sid Barrett without any prior indication of mental health problems. Heartbreaking as my brother's descent into madness was, I was selfishly more afraid of waking up one day just as insane as he is, which I think is a normal thought. I don't think that's selfish. I think it's just like a self-concern. I couldn't tell Carolina what I was experiencing. If I was losing it, she was the last one I'd want to find out about. That's selfish. Slightly concerning. I'd like to see the pictures. I don't know. I feel like with the negative aspect of the pictures, it instantly changes your mental to negative. And I feel like it attracts
The negative energy.
not even the negative energy, but like the negative mindset.
Yeah.
So I feel like the negative energy, like, it attracts sleep paralysis. Like the second you go to bed negative, that's like when you start watching like too many scary movies, you start having nightmares because it's the only thing going through your head. Like I feel like it may not be something paranormal per se, especially with his family, right? Especially with his family having a history of schizophrenia. The fact he's not telling his fucking Carolina bitch though, that's selfish.
If I was dating anyone, like even like a family history and like who you didn't have like a slight chance, I would want to know, in case just like one day wakes up and I don't know. That I think that is pretty selfish. Like, just as thought, like everyone else knew that like you might have schizophrenia, and then like you're dating someone, and then they're the last person to find out. You'd be like, what the fuck?
I feel like if Brenner started having like symptoms of like schizophrenia and he wasn't telling me, like I get why he wouldn't tell me, but I'd be fucking pissed because I'm like the one person that's stuck with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are a team, and you're not gonna start acting like we aren't. Like, if you start having mental issues, you better fucking vocalize that shit. Because I'm going to stick through it thick or thin. So if you're not going to, right, like if you're not going to tell me, you're setting yourself up for failure. Especially when you have such a loving partner that would help you and understands where you're coming from. There's no reason to hide that shit.
So that is all for today. If you guys liked the video, please make sure you like it. If you guys don't like the video, please comment down below and tell us what we can work on. And if you guys like the channel, please subscribe. We want you guys to join us on this awesome journey, and we are super excited to see where it goes.
Peace.